Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a pretty provocative idea about intelligence. Specifically, we're looking at 5 habits that one source claims are signs of a closed-off mindset. Now, just to be clear, we're not here to diagnose anyone. We're here to explore the logic behind this argument.
So let's just kick things off with a question that, we probably all think about without even realizing it. What are those subtle little habits we see in people that make us think, wow, that person's sharp, versus, well, someone who seems kind of stuck in their ways?
And that leads us straight into the source material we're looking at today. It actually claims to have identified these specific patterns. But before we get to the list, it's really important that we understand the exact term the source uses to frame this whole idea.
Okay, so you see the term there. I have to stress, this is the source's framing. We're exploring its perspective on these behaviors as a way to understand an argument, not to hand out some kind of diagnostic tool. This is really all about deconstructing an idea.
All right, let's get into the good stuff. The source we're looking at highlights 5 specific habits that it says are especially revealing. We're going to break them down one by one.
First up, habit number 1, a consistent refusal to take responsibility. And we're not talking about a one-time slip-up here. We're talking about a distinct pattern where, whenever something goes wrong, the immediate instinct is to point the finger somewhere else.
So the thinking behind this is pretty straightforward, right? According to the source, blaming others is basically a defense mechanism. It stops you from doing that self-reflection you need to do to actually learn from your mistakes and, do better next time.
On to the second marker. This one's a big one, the inability to admit you're wrong. Or maybe more subtly, just being completely unwilling to even consider another point of view. It's that my way or the highway approach to pretty much any conversation.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the mindset that's supposedly driving this. The source argues that this constant need to be right isn't a sign of confidence. No, it's actually a symptom of a fixed mindset. This deep-seated fear that being wrong somehow makes you less valuable.
Let's move on to habit number 3, which kind of builds on that last one. This is about how people respond when their ideas are challenged. Instead of curiosity, their go-to reaction is anger and aggression.
You see, the source suggests this isn't just someone being passionate about their beliefs. It's a tactic. The argument is that an emotional outburst, getting loud, getting angry, is often just a tool to shut down a conversation, especially when you feel like you're losing on logic alone. It's like a form of intellectual deflection.
Okay, the 4th habit is a little more passive, but according to the source, it's just as important. It's a fundamental lack of curiosity about the world. I mean, not having all the answers is one thing, but not even being interested in the questions? That's something else entirely.
The author's point here is that a real lack of interest in asking questions points to a deeper lack of engagement. It suggests you're not really willing to build new mental models or challenge the ones you've already got. If you're not curious, you're just not learning. Simple as that.
And the final habit, number 5, is all about getting lost in the weeds. It's that tendency to get totally bogged down in unimportant details, derailing a bigger conversation by fixating on some tiny little flaw.
So, according to the source, this tactic really shows an inability to grasp the main point of an argument. Because, let's be honest, it's a lot easier to attack a typo or a minor mistake than it is to actually engage with a big, complex idea.
All right, so we've gone through all 5 of these habits. What's the underlying theme here? What does the author suggest really connects all of them?
Here they are, all together on one screen. The source claims these aren't just 5 random, isolated behaviors. No, it argues that they're all symptoms that point back to one single, deeper mindset.
So, this is it. This is the crucial thread that ties everything together. The source argues that all of these habits, the blaming, the anger, the nitpicking, they don't come from a place of arrogance. They come from a deep intellectual insecurity. It's a fixed mindset where any challenge to your ideas feels like a personal attack, not an opportunity to grow.
But, and this is a big but, just presenting these ideas from the source isn't the same thing as just nodding along and agreeing with them. We have to zoom out for a second and ask a much bigger question.
It is so important to remember that intelligence isn't just one thing. It's this incredibly complex puzzle. You've got emotional intelligence, creative intelligence, practical smarts, analytical skills. It's this whole suite of abilities that you just can't measure with a single number, and certainly not with a short list of bad habits.
And that question right there really gets to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? The source we looked at gives us this compelling, maybe controversial way of looking at behavior. But we'll leave you with this thought.
How much can we really tell about what's going on inside someone's head just from the outside? And maybe more importantly, what crucial things do we miss when we try?